Bitcoin is a union in cyberspace. It's a monetary union. It's a more perfect monetary union. The sooner you join, the better you are off. And as people join, it gets more powerful, and and the price goes up. So if you're Tesla, you want to be first because Apple will pay twice as much, and then Google will pay twice that much, and Facebook will pay twice that much. And eventually everybody's got to join because if you don't join, you're going to lose 15% to 20% of your purchasing power. So ultimately, everybody's in this stampede to preserve their wealth or their purchasing power. And in this particular case, Bitcoin is the dominant answer. And as people start to realize that, it's just going to accelerate the transition and the adoption rate.
So I love this kind of like bull case we're doing here. And I want to tie it back to one concept, which is the fiduciary duty. Because to me, this is the key sort of like, if I was a sharp lawyer in this space, to start writing up these legal arguments of basically transcribing your kind of philosophy of what store of value is in the future, of when does the thought process of it's against your fiduciary duty to hold cash, or like, because to me, that's where, shareholders and everything gets involved. It's like not even up to Tim Cook or Bezos anymore. It's like they have to do it almost. So is that kind of thing you see happening?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think if you roll the clock back a year ago when the M2 monetary supply was expanding at 5%, everybody could kind of look the other way and say, well, losing 5% and I'm going to invest in 2% bonds and lose 5 and it's net negative 3%. And over 30 years, I'm going to lose all the cash, but I'm not going to hold it for 30 years. So they could kind of look the other way when it was a 5% M2 money expansion. But when the cost of capital went to 15%, when it tripled, now you can't look the other way because you're going to lose half the shareholders' purchasing power. Your cost of capital means if you're not getting more than that 15% yield every year, you're burning shareholder wealth. So what do? You either have to buy the stock back, or you have to invest in something which is beating that hurdle rate. Now, the problem with buying the stock back is you decapitalize the company, and pretty soon there's no treasury left. It's like giving away all your money to charitable causes. You'll feel good about it, but if you actually lose your job, you'll starve, and your family will starve. So a company can't decapitalize the entire treasury. And what's happened is the rampant money printing has made it more and more difficult to find liquid treasury assets that can be expected to yield faster than 15%. You look them up, right? I mean,
there's like nothing.
Right. You better guess right on your equity, but big tech is a crowded trade. Gold is stalled out. Real estate is stalled out. Bitcoin is the best performing asset the past month, the past quarter, the past year, the past 2 years, the past 5 years, the past 10 years, against everything. And why? Because you can't make any more of it. It's a very simple idea. What if I had something and you couldn't make any more of it and everybody wanted it? Well, then if you double the amount of money, the price is going to double at least. By the way, there are 3 drivers of Bitcoin. It's going to go up in value as the Fed and the EU central bank prints money. If they print 10% more money, you're going to get 10% more value because the supply is capped. It's going to go up in value as people stampede to adopt it. The consumers are stampeding to adopt it, and also as corporations stampede and as institutional investors. You got insurance companies, you got hedge funds, you got corporations, you got individuals on PayPal and Square. That's going to drive adoption. And the third reason it's going to go up in value is because technology is going to keep upgraded, and pretty soon it'll get built into Apple Pay and Google Pay and Alipay and Amazon and Square, and everybody is, no one's going to program a new feature for gold ever, It's not going to happen. What's the secret to Tesla again? The secret to Tesla is Elon Musk said, let's just take a clean sheet of paper and rethink the car. And let's see if we can re-engineer it better with software and do something different. He broke the mold. What if I said, I'm going to just re-engineer the idea of money, clean sheet of paper, and I'm going to program it to be better? I can move $100 million of Bitcoin from New York New York to London in a few minutes for $3. It would cost you $1 million to do that with gold. It's 1,000,000 times better. And it's going to keep getting better every month because people are going to keep programming it into their stuff. And why will they? Because if Apple programs Bitcoin into the iPhone's going to have a savings account that pays you 100% tax-free interest. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, and it seems like that's one of the big shoes I've been waiting to drop is like the Amazon payment, the Apple embedded crypto wallet. To me is the evolution of Apple's device, and their whole brand move on privacy positions them perfectly to be the security asset for your crypto. If I was them and they want to get into software, services, banking, like this is the obvious move for companies like Apple. It could be a problem for your monetary management in some ways, but also a massive opportunity as an early adopter like Square is doing with Cash App right now to become a leader of this ecosystem and say, let's just build on top of Bitcoin and run with it. And at some point, to me, Square doing it means the game's already over. Like, that's kind of why I think it's funny. It's like Apple's going to do it inevitably because Square was the first one, and they're going to have huge benefits. They're going to create hundreds of billions of dollars worth of business from Cash App just built on top of that because they were the first mover.
Galileo, you totally get it. I posted this on Twitter. I pointed out Square's moved. Because Square moved, PayPal's got to adopt it. Otherwise, everybody shifts their accounts to Square. I mean, who wants a savings account that yields nothing when they could get 100%? So Square pushed PayPal. Square and PayPal are going to force Apple to move. And if Apple were to build a crypto wallet into the secure element of the iPhone and really support it with integration to Apple Pay in a nice native fashion, and if they were to then to adopt Bitcoin on their balance sheet and start to buy some Bitcoin, they would generate $100 billion in shareholder value in 12 months. I mean, you want to make $100 billion? It's a very simple thing. Build it into a billion phones and then buy a few billion worth of it. What do you think happens to Bitcoin? If Apple buys $10 billion of Bitcoin, what do you think happens to the Bitcoin price? So the point is, there's so many ways to make money, right? Because if Apple did it, everybody else would have to do it too, right? And 1 billion people will be using the iPhone. If I use my iPhone as my hardware wallet, if it's the go-to hardware wallet for moving Bitcoin around, then you're going to pry it from my cold dead fingers. Square's done a great job. They basically plugged Bitcoin into Square, and PayPal's plugged Bitcoin into PayPal. Once you've made that commitment, they're going to pry it from your fingers, white knuckle. No one's going to let go because who wants to give up their money? It's one thing, think about how loyal we are to Apple because we got our photos on it, or our messages on it, or our movies on it. What are you more loyal to? All the money you own or your photos? Like what's real? We've really just gone through the first mobile wave, the wave of mobile communications. The next mobile wave is money, all of it, hundreds of trillions of dollars of it. Imagine what happens if all that money leaps off of stocks, bonds, real estate, gold, silver, and derivatives, and it flows into people's mobile devices where they can control it. And imagine if you didn't have to worry about juggling it and guessing whose stock is going up and whose stock is going down, right? The beauty of Bitcoin is it's simple. It's like you put your money in the bank and no one steals it.